Hi, this is Lucia with The Art of Love. I'm a dating and relationship expert specializing in helping you get your ex back. Today, I want to talk about the 7 stages the dumpee goes through. That would be the person who has been dumped. I've previously done a video titled 7 Stages the Dumper Goes Through, and now it's the turn of the person who has been dumped, which I'm assuming is you. But before I do that, I want to remind you to be sure to subscribe so you don't miss out on any future videos, and while you're at it, tap the bell icon so you'll be notified when a new video is up. And also be sure to follow me on Instagram at LuciaD. That's Luciad. Okay, so let's start with the first stage, which is shock, surprise, and disbelief. Usually you weren't expecting to be broken up with. You didn't see it coming. And even if you were kind of expecting it, you still don't believe it when it happens. But often it is a surprise. Just think back to all the times you've been broken up with. Hopefully there aren't too many times you've been broken up with. But when I think back to the times that I've been broken up with, the few times, I did not expect it. I was always very surprised. So that would be stage number 1. Stage number 2 is denial. And people do themselves as a way to protect themselves. You tell yourself that they're going to be back, that it's a fake breakup. They didn't really mean it. They're just confused, but they'll be back. And this actually happened with me, with someone that I was dating who had a very, very high interest level in me, much higher than my interest in him. And he texted me and broke up with me, and I just read it and I was like, oh please, I totally did not I just denied it. It's like, there's no way. I just thought, well, what is he upset about now? And so I did not accept it, and it took about a month for me to finally see, oh, okay, he really is going through with this. All right. But at first I was denying it. It wasn't even so much for protection from me in that situation, but I just didn't think that it was possible. So first you're surprised, and then when it looks like it's happening, then you deny it. And then you move on to the third step, which is that you refuse to accept it. And this is when you beg for a second chance. You try to use logic to talk your ex into coming back, but of course, if you've been listening to me, you know that's not going to happen. You would do anything to get your ex back at this point. And the more you attempt to reconcile and refuse to accept the breakup, the angrier your dumper gets. They decided to end things weeks or even months ago. So you won't be able to talk them out of it. At this point, it's just best to agree with the breakup. This is also when you may be impulsive and become vengeful and want to get back at them. But you will regret it down the road. So don't do anything I wouldn't do. The next stage is depression. This is when the breakup consumes your mind and your energy, and every waking moment you are obsessed. You're constantly talking about it to anyone who will listen. You're searching YouTube videos. You can't eat, you can't sleep, you have a lack of motivation, you're blaming yourself, there's a lot of negative thinking, and you're going over the breakup in your mind multiple times, just over and over. This is where separation anxiety may kick in, and here also you may do things out of desperation. And if you're still in depression months after the breakup, then you may want to seek professional help. The next stage is anger. You'll have bursts of angry moments. You'll have a desire to get retribution, revenge. You want to get back with them so that you can dump them and they can feel the pain. And it's interesting that my coaching clients, they ask me, is my ex in as much pain as I am? And I say, why do you want to know that? And they say, well, I would feel better if they were also in pain. Which begs the question, well, if you love them so much, why do you want them to be in pain? Well, it's because you're in pain, so you want them to be in pain too. And this is also when you may lash out and leave nasty messages. And I don't mean the good nasty. I mean the bad nasty. You're more prone to arguing. You feel betrayed. You talk badly about the dumper. And you blame the dumper for how you feel. The next stage is acceptance. So after all that depression and anger and refusing to accept it and disbelief, you finally accept it. There's no more self-blame. You see that the ex made mistakes too. The ex is no longer on a pedestal, and you may actually be glad that it's over. You're finally able to see the negatives in the relationship. You start to respect yourself and to love yourself. And finally, we have recovery. This is when you focus on yourself. You start to see light at the end of the tunnel. You're ready to move on and start dating or get into a relationship. You switch to a positive mindset. So those are the 7 stages. The first one, shock, surprise, disbelief. Next, denial. Third, refusal to accept it. Then we have depression, then anger, and finally acceptance and recovery. And of course, everyone wants to know, well, how long does each stage last? Well, it's different for everyone. It lasts as long as it lasts. And you may jump back and forth between some stages, and that's perfectly normal. So you may be angry and then switch back to begging. It really depends on what triggers you. So things that remind you of your ex will bring out different emotions. One day you may be depressed, one day you may be angry, and then the next day back to depression. And some people are unfortunately still angry years after the breakup. I think we all know someone who they're still in anger stage after a breakup, and it's been years, and you want to say, come on, it's time to get over it. So if you were wondering what you were feeling was normal, hopefully I put your mind at ease by telling you about the 7 stages that a dumpee goes through. So I want you to comment below and let me know which stage are you in at the moment. And if you would like my help personally to help you get through the breakup and get your ex back, you can contact me at my website, theartoflove.net. The direct link is below. If you're listening on YouTube, remember to like and subscribe, and most importantly, please share this video. People make so many mistakes when they're trying to get an ex back, or they may not know what they're feeling when they've been dumped. So help them just as I've helped you by liking and sharing this video. If you're listening on iTunes, I would appreciate it if you would rate and review the podcast. And finally, remember that love inspires, empowers, uplifts, and enlightens.